Let's do this. It's a Sunday morning in New South Wales, and the time is 9:42. Probably by the time you get to listen to this, it'll be way past 9:42 because this is not a live entry. It's a recording, but I'm giving you the time so you sort of get a bit of an idea of the mood, the zone, in case you hear any crackling voices. It's because I almost literally just woke up. And I remember that for many years, around this time, I'd probably be in church, probably be on stage, either singing or just in church, listening to preachings, whatsoever. But the last 2 years of my life experienced a serious turn around in terms of not necessarily the faith, but mainly doctrines, people's attitudes, behaviors, claims of being an embodiment of Christ, where else in reality things are just not like that from my own perspective. So a lot of things had to sort of do or undergo a little bit of a change. Some would say, have you been doing more deconstruction or not? Actually, yeah. A bit of a deconstruction and a bit of a reconstruction. Even though I'm not sure whether reconstruction is always a matter of it should kick in immediately, or there should be a little bit of a delay in terms of a reconstruction. And this is because many people have put this argument that in the case one deconstructs levels of faith, arguments from faith, there should definitely be a reconstruction. But sometimes I think a reconstruction is not necessarily or should not always be the case, but a deconstruction definitely is. But I guess the idea of reconstruction is to make sure that whatever you're taking out, there shouldn't be a space that is void, because it might be a ground for any senseless ideologies to sort of come and camp in your head. I mean, probably a lot of you have heard of the expression, an idling mind is the devil's camp. So maybe a reconstruction is not necessarily the case, but I think in many different entries, I've sort of articulated a little bit as to why the deconstruction in terms of my life, why the changes. Do I want to be part of the body? Definitely yes. But I still do have many concerns also in terms of which kind of body exactly do I want to be a part of? And what kind of doctrine is this body, so to say, representing? And what kind of theology is being delivered? I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen of late, and for those who've listened to the previous episode about, church losing its plot, I kind of articulate some of my concerns about things that are happening in church and in churches. And also, if you have listened to the podcast, that entry that I had with Pastor Jack Chiro from South Africa, you would hear part of the few issues I kind of allude about them here and there. So my life changed. Most Sunday mornings also I used to work. Also that changed a little bit. So I've got like a little bit of time for my Sunday mornings. Mostly it's a day for music. I do a lot of online churching. Technology. I do a lot of online churching and a lot of online Bible study. And I've done quite great amount of work for myself. Just to share briefly topics that I've sort of engaged, in more details is to look at concepts like Trinity, what exactly that means, concepts like marriage and divorce, what that means in the context of Christ-mindedness, concepts like women preachers. And I went through all, maybe not all the names, but a couple of them that many people use to sort of make the claims that women are good in preaching or women are called in preaching, which I would argue that perhaps in leadership for some of them, but not necessarily in the context of preaching. So I've looked at, Priscilla. Surprisingly enough, the idea about Priscilla for me, many people say Priscilla and Aquila. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that accurately. Aquila. The funny part is that I came across a lot of people who'd say Priscilla and Aquila were very prominent women. And that was sort of a phrase which was loosely used around, thrown around, and many people bought onto that idea. But then upon pondering into scriptures, then you discover that actually Aquila is Priscilla's husband. So when they say Priscilla and Aquila were prominent women, are they suggesting Aquila is trans? I'm fully garrowed. But I've also spent some time to look at people like Deborah, Junior, Mary in Matthew 28, the claims that Mary went to preach the good news. Boop, boop, definitely nope. But I've looked at too many things. Look, the point of this entry is not really to talk about religious stuff, but I was just giving a little bit of a feel as to where I am in the zone and whatsoever. What I came here to do, or rather say, is to really express much more of my gratitude to all the guests that have been part of the show in the third season, and to also express more gratitude to all the listeners, the family of the Visions and Tones. Super excited and super proud of all your support. But I do need to echo also at the same time, perhaps this could be something that one can take out of this and run with them. I've got a lot of friends and they've got different kinds of interests. And one of the things I had to sort of learn to carry in the works of knowledge production, creativity, and whatever content making and so on and so forth, is to understand the fact that I may have friends, I may have family, but some of the things that I do are not really of great interest in their lives. And I have to accept that. The more I accept that, the more peace I had in me. So I don't want to, walk in the streets and come across friends and they hear that, oh, this is a person who does Visions and Tones podcast, and they start to feel a little bit guilty because they haven't, listened to as many other episodes that I've produced. Look, it's not a train smash. It's not the end of the world. If you still have a chance to get back and listen to some, it's still doable, and there's still room for more engagement in the future. Perhaps, new notions, new ideas may have emerged, and, more seasoned conversations are likely to ensue. I'm very much open to that, right? The fact that my articulation today might be challenged by a couple of things in the next few minutes, and I might change perspective. Obviously, it depends what kind of, perceptions those are. So wherever you are out there, knowledge producer, content creator, please do not put pressure on your family and friends to be your number one supporter. If they are, well, that's a blessing. That's good. Worth celebrating, worth talking about it. But if they are not, please do not put pressure on people. Do not be hating on people for not listening to your work whatsoever. However, it does help if they do listen. But also, part of the things that I tend to do is if I come across friends who want to sort of ask me my opinion about something. What's your take about this latest politics? Migration is growing in Australia. And I could be really bit tricky. And I say, I've done an entry about this topic, season 3, episode X. Do you mind jumping on it? And then if maybe there's nothing that I'm not addressing there, then we can come and have a conversation about it. I think that's also part of a great way for me to sort of promote my work. Seeing to it that I'm running on a zero budget. There's nothing for acknowledgement or just token of appreciating my guests, nothing for advertisement, and so on and so forth. So the work is basically run on a zero budget. Actually, there is a budget, but really zero finances. Because one can calculate all the stuff that I do and the times and whatnot. If somebody was to do it, how much would the person be paid? There's figures for that. But besides that, there isn't any generating of any revenue or whatsoever the case, or any sponsorship of some kind. But point is, I wanted to just thank all humans who've been greatly supportive and expressing great love to this work of the Visions and Tones. And stay tuned as we crossing over our 50% mark of 2020. Just stay tuned for the next half of the year to hear about many other exciting episodes. I won't give you any kind of topics now because I often get a bit of a pressure of people saying, okay, you've mentioned this and this, can that one come first? But I find it's not really on the timeline as yet for whatever particular reasons. So hang in there and feel free to connect with us on the Visions and Tones podcast Instagram page, and it is at _visions_tones. I repeat, at _visions_tones. Have yourself a lovely Sunday all around the world. If you are in Australia, South Africans, as you wake up, beautiful Sunday to you, and Americans in the next 24 hours or so. Have yourselves a great Sunday, and go ye, everybody in the world, be best human beings and best versions of yourselves, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.